Thank you very much. My name is Gabor Buday, and I'm representing today Siemens and AAS and Teamcenter collaboration. So what we brought to you today is efficient engineering and how we can achieve it through AAS. And I think many great presentations already spent some time on it, that how difficult it is to get structured data, how difficult it is to create AAS data, and then how difficult it is to bring it into an ecosystem. So what we would like to show you is that this can be also done a bit easy through Teamcenter. So to showcase you how this we see or visualize, we have come up with a digital thread. This digital thread represents three sides of this value chain. On the left-hand side for me, but right-hand side to you, you see the component engineering or supplier side, where hardware and associated information is being generated. In the middle, you see data exchange service, which is collecting this information. On the right-hand side, for me, left-hand side for you, you see product engineering at the OEM side who are leveraging or using this information. With the green line, you see currently available functionality in Teamcenter, and then with the gray line, you see the past or the future product outlook. So our target is to bring the entire ecosystem together. We need the supplier's data. The OEMs want to use that data. And I think many presentations also pointed out that these data points are scattered. There are central data repositories, catalogs, data spaces, which might aggregate various supplier input. There are individual supplier AAS repositories. And if you are an OEM, then you have to connect to these one by one, and then you still have to query them one by one. So how can you overcome this? And our answer is through our service, Data Exchange in Teamcenter. So what I'm going to showcase to you is how this process would and actually works in a Teamcenter context, how we are contacting or connecting multiple AAS repositories, and how we make our Teamcenter PLM system the backbone of digital twin data and engineering data. You see a very simple workflow here, which is describing that the AAS data is being stored or queried by our service. Then this data is being made available in Teamcenter, and then an engineer can work with this data. So we will go through each of these steps through a demonstration. And in the middle, you also see that currently we are supporting a few submodels. So I think there is an overlap with the previous use cases: nameplate, handover documentation, technical data, 3D models, product carbon footprint, all the most relevant ones as of now. On the bottom, you also see that we plan to support not just the import of the information, but also keeping the information up to date. I think also a few use cases pointed out that changes can happen, and this data needs to be kept up to date. So obviously, this is also relevant for our use case and will be part of our solution. So what is this demonstration and how it's going to look like? And it was also mentioned by one of the presentations that we should step into the shoes of our customers. So let's go with that story. Let's step into the shoes of our customer, Oscar, who is a product engineer at an OEM side. Oscar would like to work on the assembly that you see in the picture. It's a quality test machine, and he got the task that some components needs to be replaced in this test machine. So what Oscar is going to do, Oscar is going to search for components, Oscar is going to evaluate the data, and then Oscar is going to import that data. And if all goes well, then this data will be attached to this BOM. So first, as mentioned, we start with the search. So just to show it to you, we are Oscar, I didn't lie. And now we go to the assembly or bill of material, and then we create a placeholder for the component that we are looking for. So we are now replicating a workflow that happens in an engineering context. As a next step, I'm proving that behind this shell there is no data, so what we are going to import is really going to show up. So in a Teamcenter context, now we go to search, and we select AAS search, and then now we will start our search based on, for instance, a keyword that you see here. Now, we are in an internet context, right? So we search for something that is stored on the internet. This is the AAS we have found. These are the AAS we have found, the data that is being pulled in, and you see now that's also coming from the AAS. We see that we have nameplate, handover documents, 3D models. Maybe we want to evaluate another component. Maybe we want to check out these data points. So 3D models, this shell also has, for instance, technical data, and this shell also has carbon footprint data. And then now I, as an engineer, I can decide if I like what I see. Is it relevant for my use case? So before I decide that I like what I see, let me reflect what you have seen. So this search is not in Teamcenter, right? This search is triggered from Teamcenter, and it's happening on the internet, and we are querying various AAS repositories. And the results that you see, those are not Teamcenter data objects, those are internet-based results. And when I was clicking it through, we have not imported any data points. That's something you see from the AAS repositories of the suppliers whom we have queried. So now we continue the journey, and I would say Oscar liked what he has seen, so he would like to bring in this data into Teamcenter. But of course, we don't want our engineers to pollute our master data, so we introduce, or we have a workflow to ensure 4 eyes principles, and we also give this sort of safety that the engineers can try out this data in a Teamcenter context. So now what you are going to see is that we do a so-called preview import. This is a temporary data object in a Teamcenter context. And now you see that this preview import happened. And then if there is a workflow, I can send it to a workflow. And then if I'm now a reviewer, I would be reviewing what I'm seeing. So this is a terminal block. It has certain data. It has certain documents attached to it. I can also check the documents. Right? If I like what I see, is this really a part we are looking for? I can check all the documents. And then I can also check, for instance, the 3D models. Right? If it's in GT, then we can do render, and then we can also check out if you like, or if we like the results. And then I, as a reviewer, can decide that the information I have seen is relevant for us, meeting quality requirements of the company, and is the right part, so I will approve. And now, with this, we start, we call it real import process. So until this point, this was a temporary storage of information, and now it's becoming real information. So what we have seen, right? We have selected in the previous step an asset we liked, and then we have started to bring this asset into a Teamcenter context. That we had the chance to send this asset for review before a final import, so that we could decide if this is really the asset we need, and this is really meeting the quality requirements of our company. Which is a side note before we continue here, quality requirements. I think also many of us has reflected on the difficulties of generating AAS, but also the quality within the AAS data, right? And I would assume it would be one of the questions, how would we solve this issue? If it's an issue, of course. Well, we, of course, work with partners to test the concept, and we give feedbacks to these partners over their data quality, and we also actively interact with IDTA. And I think I would also encourage the room to do that, because we see that there are opportunities to enhance the quality tester functionality of IDTA, but also how this data can be more used in a commercial context. So when we said that the AAS is right for us, we allowed the import, and then now that's what's going to happen, that we continue with the import, which means that the temporary objects becomes a Teamcenter data object, and then if all went well, the engineer should be able to attach it to the assembly that we have seen at the beginning. So what you see now is that the import has concluded, and now we have created a vendor part. This is the permanent storage or the object storage or shell in a Teamcenter context for data. What you see now is this vendor part that has been created from an AAS, meaning the AAS data has been translated into Teamcenter data object, and it's ready for use. So again, we are just clicking through. Has it really brought in all the documents and data we have been previously looking for and approved? And then when we are happy, then we go back to our assembly and assign it to it. So now that's what you are saying, that we came back to this holding object, and then now we are adding this so-called vendor part, which is the imported AAS. So yeah, and with that, this is the end of the process. So what you have seen, and now let me go back to the beginning. So you were Oscar. You didn't have to go to any portals. You didn't have to go to Google to find information. You didn't have to spend any time converting Excel, PDF into anything. You just had to start a search in Teamcenter. Teamcenter connected you with the AAS repositories, and then in Teamcenter you were able to review your data, your future data, and then bring it into a Teamcenter context. So you never had to leave Teamcenter to perform a validation and to perform a search. And at the end, Teamcenter did the job to convert AAS into a Teamcenter data object. So our view, and I think those who have been following our earlier presentations, you might be familiar with this slide, that these benefits are real, and I can also reflect to the prior discussions or the prior presentations, which were saying that by automating certain aspects, we can achieve something, which something can be a benefit. And I believe after this presentation, you can see that the ecosystem can be really bring the value for engineering data exchange. And in this, PLM can play a key role. If you are interested, of course, I will be standing there during marketplace session, but also please feel free to contact the colleagues and myself afterwards. Thank you very much.